And our business correspondent Ajay Mishra will now explain the roadmap and the challenges that actually lie ahead as far as the implementation of the GST is concerned. Before we talk about the roadmap, strategies and implementation, Ajay, quickly taking a cue from the Aam Aadmi reaction, there's a very, very positive sentiment for a common man to understand the benefits. If you could just dwell on those lines, especially this whole concept of one country, one tax, because remember, Prime Minister Modi had said that this is going to be for the benefit of the poor and the poor states.
I think you're right, Sakal, in a sense that in a larger sense, this is going to impact both the development process, the inflation. It will try to control the inflation in the longer run, and also the investment cycle will revive in the positive sense that ease of doing business will facilitate investment both from within the country as well as from the international investors, which are looking India as a one pocket of investment destination, which is just a bright spot in this global scenario. So you are right in the statement that it is going to be pro-poor. It is going to protect the poor from the cascading effect of so-called indirect taxes, and there are multiplicity of taxes at various levels. It is going to make life simpler for common man, for the industry people, especially for the small and medium enterprises, and this is a win-win for consumer, for the industry, as well as for the governments, both state as well as center.
And the basic idea, the goal that it all started with was to spur growth and to contain inflation. Today also, in his opening remarks at the media center, Finance Minister reiterated 2 points besides others, that this ease of doing business which you talked about, and also it will help in bringing down the tax rate in the long run in order to curtail and contain inflation. Well, that's something which the economists are really keenly watching, isn't it?
I think it's a matter of arithmetic. What will be the rate of GST, revenue neutral rate, which will be decided by the GST Council, and on an average the 27% of taxation on the goods and goods will come down to maybe 19%, 20%. We don't know what the GST rate will be, but yes, it is going to come down on the goods. On the services, it might go up on some of the services, because you know that the service tax is close to 14-15%. It is going to go up. It will pinch some of the services. So net there might be reduction, but in the longer run, as it will fuel the economic growth in the country, as it will facilitate the investment, it will be pro-poor, pro-employment and pro-growth.
Having said that, now the forward movement, how do we move on from here? The Rajya Sabha yesterday, we saw passed it with a historic consensus. If you have all political parties for a change on same page, the unanimous support that government actually got it speaks volumes about the political consensus part of it is concerned. Now, having states on the same page in terms of its implementation, remember yesterday also Finance Minister reiterated that the concept of the GST Council is only going to support the federal structure of the country. So that is also now a challenge area.
Absolutely.
How do we move ahead from here?
I think there are 2-3 main challenges which the Revenue Secretary also stipulated during the press conference. First is the network. Is the IT infrastructure ready with the center as well as the state is the key question. Revenue Secretary told that only 17 states have made their backend ready. So the software and the hardware which will support the GST system is yet to be ready in the states. And he has expected that by December all the states will be on board. That's number one. Secondly, the revenue officers, close to 60,000 of them, both at the center and the state level, they will have to be taught and they will have to be trained for the GST regime, because till now they were assessing the tax, the people for the service tax matters, for the excise and for the other indirect taxes. But now, after this new regime comes, they will have to be trained for that. And thirdly, the legislative part. This bill will now go to Lok Sabha. It has to be passed by 2/3 majority. Then it will go to President for the assent. President will then send it to the states.
States again, yes.
Minimum 16 states has to ratify and send it back to the President, and then this amendment bill will be passed. Then, based on the recommendation of the Council, there will be 2 bills: the Central GST bill and the IGST bills. So both these bills will be coming again to the before the Parliament, and that timeline is December during this winter session of Parliament.
November, December.
So the winter session of Parliament, along with the winter session of other state legislatures, it is expected that the CGST bill and IGST bill, 2 separate bills, will be passed by the Parliament, at the central level, and all the state governments will pass their respective SGST bills in their respective legislatures. So once it is through, once the legal entity, legal framework is in place, then it will be the outreach. So after December, it will be outreach program by the central and state governments. They will reach out to people, they will reach out to business and tell them the benefits and the system. And it is going to be very, very simple. There will be just one return for the GST. You will not have to file the returns at the state level and the central level. It will be just one return, and also all the returns will be online. So there is not going to be any difficulty for the common taxpayers, and especially those who are already registered under the VAT system, under the service tax system. They need not to even register for the new GST. They will automatically upgrade to the GST level. Only those entities which are exempt from the current indirect tax system will have to register with the GST system, and that too will be just 3-day process. So it is going to be very, very simple, and I think it is possible to roll out the new GST regime from April 1, 2017 as been targeted.
All right, on that optimistic note, thank you very much, Ajay Mishra, for putting the entire concept of the GST and the benefits of the common man in larger perspective. Thank you for joining, and here